So you may or may not know, but there are several video games that came out in Japan and the US and they have different titles. Famously, Yakuza is known as like a dragon in Japan.
Yeah. Yep.
We have games like what the fuck is the name of it in English? It's Dew Prism in Japan, and if you put the English disc in your CD-ROM and you look at it, it's a PS1 game. It says Dew Prism as the title of the disc, but it's called Threads of Fate in the US. But there are some good ones. Did you know? Oh, what do you think Point Blank is called?
Oh man, I have no idea.
It's called Gun Bullet.
Oh
What do you
my God.
think? What do you think Torok 2 is called in Japan?
Oh no, dinosaurs?
That's actually not far off, but it's called Violence Killer Torok New Generation.
See, their names were so much better. Like I like Resident Evil, but like I thought Biohazard was like so much better of a name for that. It was just like, yeah, Resident Evil, and then you had like and then we would never have Resident Evil 2 and they go Resident Evil 2. That was badass, but like I always thought BioShock was a or Biohazard was such a better fucking name.
You know why that's a thing, right?
No.
It was a UK band had the name Biohazard. They didn't want to,
Oh yeah, they do.
yeah, they didn't want to risk some kind of conflict in court. Uh,
Yep.
Bionic Commando, something like Hitler Revival Strike Back or something like that, some wacky ass name. It has Hitler in the title.
Oh yeah, it was like, yep, I know what you're talking about. And everyone was just like, what's the big deal? They're taking down Hitler. But at that point, it was just like, no, we shouldn't probably be doing this in fucking 87.
Crackdown. What is that called in Japan?
Oh no. Fighting Fists?
No, not bad. It's called Riot Act. It's good shit. The game Evil Within.
Let's see.
It's a,
Evil Within.
that's also the guy who made Resident Evil. Funny enough,
Devil Inside Me.
it's called Psycho Break. Uh, I got one more funny one on
All right,
top of
let's
my
do it.
head.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
All right, the game Deadly Arts, that shitty
Oh,
Konami fighting game on the
oh
N64.
God. Um, martial martial arts fighting stance
Ga-
combat.
gasp! GASP. Period after each letter. Exclamation point! Exclamation point. Fighters next stream.
What does gasp? Did they ever explain what gasp stands for?
Generation of arts, speed, and power.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's
Welcome
all.
back. This is episode 41 of Tiny Dynamite. I am Brett. I am back from sabbatical. This is Tom
What's the name of the show?
back in Shotgun. It's Digital Deliberations.
That's right.
We just deliberated on some really awesome names of video games. Ridiculous. If anyone else has some favorite ones out there, post them to the channel. Post them in our chat. Give us the thumbs up. Stick it right up the channel's butt.
Yeah, I've been going through a lot of Japanese auctions for bundles of PS1 and PS2 games because there are so many games that never came out in the US that are most of, and I wouldn't say most of them, but a good chunk of them are all playable games. You don't need to speak Japanese.
I was
And
gonna say a lot of them were you could just a lot
so,
of platformers and shit.
so I'm just looking through all these games. I haven't heard of like half of them, and they all look pretty cool. So I'm like, if I
There
paid,
must be like a Pachinki machine game for the PS2.
oh yeah, there's 100 of those, but
There has to be some great gambling simulators.
they love train simulators. They love bug
Mm.
battling and mahjong. They what else do they like over there in Japan? Horse racing. They love horse racing. There's a shit ton of horse racing games.
I was watching a documentary on Dota yesterday,
I'm sorry.
and yeah, I was bored. And I found out that the Korean soccer team brought in StarCraft Brood War players to pump up the national soccer team because they wanted to meet their heroes.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
It was kind of crazy to think about that. They're like, yeah, they're super rock stars out there, and it's like, it's such a culture where the girls are just like, yeah, I want you to be more like that top lane person over there.
What a world we live in.
It's awesome. I think it's fantastic. That documentary made me just respect Dota so much more. It's a
I,
cr-
I
it's
don't respect Dota.
crazy.
Not at all.
It's a crazy game versus like at this point how many heroes are there? Like 250 or something like that?
Oh, I have no idea. The only hero I've ever played was the one that's Lena Inverse. I think her name is it's not Chandra. Maybe it is. It's something like that, but she's based
I
off
think
of
you're
Lena
right.
Inverse, yeah. Like, well, clearly I want to play this character.
I just like I played some League and by the time I got into it, it was just so far over my head that I enjoy playing against bots and stuff like that. But I much rather watch a good game of like Dota or League in like Siege versus any Overwatch game at this point because Overwatch is just so stalemate and the maybe it's changed in Overwatch too, but I dropped out really quick. But
I
like
uh I was watching something and they were talking about how some games, I think it was actually the Gersman podcast where he was saying his opinion on the whole thing, was that you need to know how to play games to understand them when you're watching them in esports. But games like
mhm,
Dota, it has a clear objective. You have this team
exactly.
and this
Yep.
team. You can see the whole field pretty much, and you have to destroy the thing in the end. Where things like Overwatch is all first person, and they have you can only see so many views at once, and you're not 100% sure what the objective is. So it's not like a football game where you're watching football. This guy has ball. He wants to get ball over there. It's easy to follow. It's not as sit down and like easily graspable as something like that. So that's why things like Overwatch are not doing great.
And it makes 100% it makes a lot of sense too because I was watching that documentary. It was on Netflix. I'll post it. I can't remember it off the top. But like they when they were entering the tournament, they followed like four or five teams. They did like one from Europe. They did like the British team, the Ukrainian team, the Korean team, and the Chinese team. Like the four big ones that they were gonna think were gonna do well in the worlds. And like when they started facing each other, they even did like small animations, like you had said, like here's where the combat zone's gonna be. Where and they didn't go into huge details of being like, well, the wizard's gonna do. It was just like this is where the conflict's gonna be. This is why it's exciting, and they did it in such a like a way that even as a person who maybe has watched one or two games, I was like, yeah, I can follow this. I might, and it brought me some interest maybe to watch a game or two. But I think that's what you need to do, like you had said. Overwatch is one of those games where it's first person. You're constantly switching between people, and with like Dota, StarCraft, and those other games, you can see the battlefield and kind of see where they're going.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I've ever actually watched an esport in my life.
None, really.
I don't think so.
I watched all of oh God, I watched all of the big fighting championship this year. What's the big one? What's the like big fighting league? Like the big one in Vegas every year.
Evo?
Evo. I watched all of Evo this year.
I see.
I watched every round of Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. I think the only one I didn't watch because it was Skullgirls. I was like, eh, whatever.
They just
But I
did Tekken,
watched
I think.
and I did Tekken. Tekken was great.
Yeah, that one just ended. Were they doing Tekken 8 gameplay? Like, were people playing Tekken 8? I
I
saw
don't think so.
something about Tekken 8.
I
Maybe it was
think they
just a
were just
trailer.
showing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Like,
The only
Nina
bummer
has
about
guns now.
the Mortal Kombat one was a bummer because I guess RoboCop's in the meta, and it was literally two RoboCop players just shooting each other on the ground
Was that when he
for
just came out?
no, it was he's been just big because he has this like gun ability that no one can block. So it was literally people just shooting at the feet, throwing grenades, shooting at the feet, and I was just like, why am I watching this? But I was like, there was nothing else on at that point. So a RoboCop player beat a RoboCop player, and everyone was impressed by this RoboCop player who did a really good counter against another RoboCop player. I'm like, way to go, RoboCop player.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat's never been a serious fighting game for me. It's just been a throwaway, goofy thing. Like Dead or Alive. I don't take Dead or Alive serious at all, but it's fun to play.
I think that's what bummed me out about the whole thing is like I was expecting Mortal Kombat to just be chaos because of the way it is, and then it was just like, oh, people, there's a clear meta in this at this point, and that's kind of bums me out when you're just watching mirror matches for the entire time.
Yeah. What a
Tekken's
shame,
always
what a shame.
fantastic though.
I want to
Tekken
play.
was fantastic.
I'd love to play more Tekken, but nobody ever wants to play with me.
I'll play with you as long as you don't make fun of me after you go on like a 32 and 6 streak.
You gotta get good, kid.
Well, I'll get good. We'll play. We'll throw some Tekken down. I love Tekken.
Yeah. Especially with 8 coming out, I'm fucking pumped.
I'm pumped for that. I'm pumped for Street Fighter. This is like the first Street Fighter game that I'm gonna probably buy on release day.
I bought Street Fighter 5 on release day, but I've never been a big Street Fighter player. I don't like Street Fighter 2. I never have. I never will. It is so rigid in how it works. Like if you jump,
Hmm.
you are fucked. If you do a sweeping kick and you miss, you're fucked. It's just like so stiff on like the animations and the move sets and everything so fixed where I just never got into it. Like I played Killer Instinct on the SNES and I thought that was a better fighting game. And then Third Strike I got really into. I love Third Strike. I think it's maybe one of the best fighting games ever made.
Alpha
And
3 was it
and
for
Alpha
me.
3 was another. That game is so goofy, but it's so like it's so varied and fast moving and it's beautiful and the music's fucking awesome. Like everything about that game is great. So
And it had like, oops, sorry.
that's it for Street Fighter really. I played 5. I don't know, people kept doing the same fucking moves over and over again. It's like when you play Mortal Kombat online and people just do the Molina roll over and over again. It's just what playing
Yes,
Street Fighter is
exactly.
online. It's just annoying.
I Alpha 3 was probably like the highlight of the series. I played a lot of 5. I liked Alpha 3 just because it had a good like role-playing system where it's just like it was the first time in like a fighting game where you could choose where you wanted to go and like level your character a certain way. And if you got to Bison under leveled, you're like, I'm fucked. And you're like starting over. I thought that was fun. And you're right. I thought 5 was good until I like actually showed up in a tournament. I'm like, oh, everyone's playing the same 4 characters and I'm not prepared for this. And this is kind of lame. I'm a heavy Ken player. I can hold my own, but that's just because I've only played Ken for years. And if you put me in as any other character, I struggle as fuck.
Yeah, I'll definitely get 6. Let's see how it goes. I do want to try that DNF Duel. People like that game a lot. It's just been a little pricey. It's based off some Japanese like anime property or something. I'm not sure what the source material is, but the game much like that Grand Blue Fantasy game that came out. It's supposed to be like a high level fighting game.
We also have to play that other fighting game that we picked up. We only played like 6 rounds of it.
The one with Skullmania.
The one that has Terry in it.
Uh, I mean King of Fighters, but
No, the one, remember like it came out and it had like a few people in it. I'm looking through my game list right now. I bought it
there's
this year.
SNK Heroines when they're all female characters.
Getting EX Lair.
Yeah, EX Layer is the one with that's Skullmania.
Oh, Skullmania. Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a few of those characters were from because it's a by Acura. They did the EX Street Fighter games, and Skullmania was in EX, but they didn't
That
get.
game was
I
fun.
don't know if they didn't want to do another EX, or they just weren't allowed to. Whatever the story was, they just went off and made their own original characters. People like those EX games. I never really played them. I played, I think, 3 that was on the PS2 like, at launch. I think Richard had it. So it's like the only
Oh,
time I ever
yep.
played that game.
I think I bought this because you said you were gonna buy it, and
Oh,
then
I bought it. I have it.
and then we ended up just not playing. We're like, yeah, and then something came out and shit.
I got that
Probably
Samurai
in July.
Showdown game. That game is pretty disappointing. It's okay.
I, ret- I returned it.
Yeah, I was very disappointed. I don't know. Wasn't feeling it. I'd rather play just 5 again.
I ended up playing it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna play against the computer on every character. I was like, wow, I can't find one character that I think I could. I'm like, seen the game. I
I was playing the girl with the big bow. I was having fun with her.
like Soul Calibur too. I like that one. That was pretty sweet.
Like, still Caliber as well, or legitimately number 2?
As well, the more recent one, I thought all of them have been pretty good.
Is that 6? That's 6.
Yeah,
I guess that game didn't do as well as they wanted, so they put the series on hiatus.
which is a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I can live
What are you
with
doing?
6 Soul Calibur games. It's
I was
fine.
just gonna say we they can live in infamy forever just because we did get 6, and 6 is a pretty solid one too.
If they ported Tekken Tag 2 to PC, I'd be good with that. Wouldn't need a Tekken 8, but, whatever.
Dear God, please, if there's anyone listening, that would be the best fucking thing ever.
Yeah, I love Tekken Tag 2. I play it all the time. It used to work online with using the Wii U emulator, but it's been shaky as of recent, so I haven't been able to get on. I can play Mario Kart 8 perfectly fine, but not Tekken Tag 2. A little
Good to
annoying.
see people are still using. Can you do it on MAME?
Online, I haven't played MAME online in 15 plus years. The only thing I used was that Fightcade, which is
Oh, yep.
more focused towards 2D games. But there used to be this thing called like Caleria or something like that for MAME. I'm sure something like that, even like a successor or something, probably still exists. But
I don't remember if that
you
one
ain't
either.
playing no Tekken Tag 2 online on MAME.
No,
Tekken Tag
that was only
2,
on the Wii
it
U.
was a Wii U 360 PS3 game. The Wii U version had some goofy costumes with like Nintendo themes. You could be
Oh,
dressed up
yep.
like Peach and Zelda and all that shit. Super goofy.
That's pretty awesome though.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, most of those arcade games post like 2005, 2006 all used PCs. They were just either Linux or stripped down Windows with an NVIDIA card, and it was just a PC running an arcade game. So a lot of rips these days are just straight up hard drive datas running on Windows.
Crazy. Yeah, I guess that makes sense though, because when I'm seeing some of those like older machine cabs that have come out for like Street Fighter and shit, like the stand cabs are just basically PCs in there.
Oh yeah, they're 100% just PCs.
Yeah, you don't. They were definitely not released on a board.
Like Time Crisis, was it 5 or 6? Is just straight up Unreal Engine executable. You still click this Unreal logo and it pops up with Time Crisis. It's
So
funny.
crazy to think that they used to be like we used to have full games on boards and shit like that and switch them out. And people are like, yeah, we're not gonna do that anymore.
Yeah, it's just hard drives. Pretty funny.
And then
Uh,
all of a sudden you're like, oh, they can update and be connected to the internet now too. Fuck.
Last time I remember actual arcade like data was when they did the Triforce, which was a combination of Namco, Sega, and Nintendo, making they used like it was pretty much a modded GameCube, and they used like these cartridges that would they shove in there, and the GameCube emulator Dolphin can run Triforce games. It's pretty funny.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, the Xbox had a what was the Xbox system called? I can't remember, but there was a fork of the Xbox hardware they used in some arcades. I know Virtual Cop 3 used it. I'm completely blanking on the name of that hardware. Starts with a C.
Kaleidoscope.
That's a K.
ColecoVision.
I mean, I can just type in Xbox arcade hardware.
Osco.
I know there's a bunch based on the PS1 and the PS2. There's a bunch of Namco games. I think like Tekken Tag 1 and Soul Calibur 1 as well. Both of those used a PS1 based hardware for the arcade release, and the versions that were on the PS2 and Dreamcast were better than the arcade. Uh, Chihiro is the name of that Xbox hardware. Sega Chihiro. You learn all kinds of things here on this digital deliberations. That's what we're here for.
That's what we are.
Yeah. All
So what
right.
else is going on this week?
Uh, you know, I'm getting all the hot scoops here on this sick anime street here. Looking around. Yeah. Hot off the presses. They're shutting down the Apex Legends mobile game.
Oh,
Yeah.
does that mean Apex is going to be shut down?
No, they say they didn't have enough returning players on the phones where it just seemed ridiculous. They couldn't keep a strong following, so they're just gonna murk it off the phones. I don't think it's been updated in parity either. It's been getting slow to update because I guess the interest isn't there. So if you played Apex Legends on mobile, I guess you got to switch over to back to Fortnite.
I think I
Oh,
might
you can switch over to
see.
Final Fantasy: The First Soldier, right?
I kind of want to see the status of Overwatch 2 at this point, like a year after the release.
Is that
Well,
it hasn't been a year, has it?
been pretty close. They're on season 3 already.
Oh fuck. I don't know. That game looked like shit from the release, and Activision.
It was fucked from the beginning, and I just wasn't a fan of the ranking system. The ranking system in 1 was kind of bad, and 2 was just like you wouldn't get progress until you won 10 games or lost 3 in a row, whatever came first. And there's some guy who lost like 130 in a row, and he went down. He's like, "What the fuck, Blizzard?" So until I hear like, and it just bums me out that they took away currency, so it just seemed like it was really hard to earn stuff. I don't know. From the beginning, it just was just growing pains for a company that was going for a season pass, but I'm kind of interested to see where it's at. But that's just me being curious.
Activision Blizzard is dead, Brett. They died.
No, nah, man. Diablo comes out in June.
They're dead. How can they release a game?
Diablo comes out in June. The last season, biggest season change in Diablo 3 history, just hit PTR
I don't
last
like
week. I think it might be live.
I don't like using my platform to talk about your woman abusing companies, sir.
Jesus. Are we about to transition into all the Hogwarts shit that's going around the internet?
I mean, we can. There's been a
Uh,
bunch of fun stuff lately. You had Royland getting canceled off all of his fucking shows and game studios. You
he
had
deserves it.
you had VR AI Seinfeld go on an anti-trans joke rant.
Was that what I want? I need to go find it. I heard he went on an anti-trans rant. They're like, "We're sorry, we did an update to try to keep him on live," and it ended up causing like major chaos.
Yeah, it was like, just pretty standard AI just farming stuff on the headlines kind of thing, where it's like, if you can't make trans jokes, that is offensive, or something like that. Some milquetoast way of doing it, but it wasn't like I fucking hate trans people. It was just like,
Oh,
can you
yeah.
believe you can't do trans jokes and stuff like that? But yeah, the excuse they gave is they were using a newer AI, and then they had
Oh
to swap back
God.
to an older AI for a while for some reason, and then older AI didn't have like the correct filters to not pull that kind of stuff, and they got banned from Twitch. But I guess a ban
Well,
from Twitch is like 2 weeks or something.
well, they got 14 days to fix it.
That fucking Larry shouldn't have won the rant.
I
Yvonne's
honestly thought
suffering.
something like that was gonna happen sooner. It's been online for like a week, and I was expecting some
It's been like
catastrophic
a
fuck
month.
up. Yeah, I was expecting him to all of a sudden just like start denying the Holocaust. They're like, shit, 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 shit.
Have you ever watched the AA Seinfeld?
No, I need to go watch it now that I'm like, well, I can't now, but they probably still have his old episodes. I need to. You guys were talking about it, but I was so busy last week.
It's the worst thing ever. There's
And then,
exactly two scenes. There is the typical Seinfeld starting him at a comedy club, and that's where that joke happened. And then it's Jerry's apartment, or Larry's apartment in this case. And they'll randomly insert random characters. So it'll be, your Kramer, your George, Elaine, or Jerry stand-ins. It almost always starts off with them saying, "We should try this new blank," and the chat will just blow their mind. It's like, "New bakery," and the whole chat will just fill with "new bakery," "breaking new grounds." And then there's this random microwave they use. So whenever they use a microwave, they just blast the ASCII art of a microwave in the chat box. It's funny on the merits of it not being funny.
I'm really digging AI with the like drawings and stuff. I saw one that someone did. It was Mario accused of war crimes today.
Oh, nice.
I was like, that's fantastic. He's sitting in a courtroom and like Toad is holding up like these papers to him and he's sitting behind like a fucking desk and everything.
I did Hello Kitty as a Gears of War character, and now
That was fantastic.
that's the photo that pops up on my dashboard of my car when I turn my car on. Hello Kitty in this like fucking beefy mech suit. Taylor was doing Bertie Sanders as Warhammer characters, and that was pretty good. Yeah, it's
This is
fun.
completely off topic, but I saw someone. You've seen those Samsung flip phones, like the little the fold ones?
Yeah.
Someone
You mean
got
the
a
Samsung Fold?
yeah, the Samsung Fold. They did a startup so that way it looks like a Nintendo SP and it plays like Pokemon and stuff as like his background. I thought that was kind of neat. It almost made me buy a phone.
We don't need more people playing Pokemon on their fucking cell phone.
Oh, I'm going to get a Pixel XL this week.
Ah, I think I'm gonna buy an iPhone. I'm on Pixel 6 right now, and I'm like, you know what? I don't like it.
My iPhone 13 is like dying.
You
I'm
should give
like,
me your iPhone then.
yeah, give me your Pixel.
Maybe. Maybe I'll do a swap.
might might do a swap.
The benefits of the having the Android system is getting irrelevant because no matter what you do, I mean, you can sideload shit, but there's not much I sideload anymore. And all the interesting things are flashing ROMs to the phone, like new operating
I've noticed
systems.
the same thing. Yeah,
And when you do that, it breaks all the security checks. So you can't use banking apps, you can't use tap to pay, and all this shit that I use all the time. So it's like, why have it?
there's no point of side loading. There's no point of jailbreaking. Is the same reason at this point. And like you used to not be able to use your iPhone on your PC, which isn't the case anymore. It's really they're becoming irrelevant because I think it's the world is switching over that people love the iPhone, like high-end people in business and shit, but they're also being forced to use PCs at this point.
Coincidentally, there's a news story about how the government is making both Android and Apple to allow third-party stores into their apps.
That makes sense.
I mean, it absolutely should do it, but it's just weird how it took so long and why now. I guess Tim Sweeney won.
So I am a sucker because I am paying like $8 a month for Apple TV and Apple Arcade.
I pay for yeah, I think I pay for both of those things as well.
You're fun.
I want to do a review on the uh Fantasian. Is that the name of that game? It's the game made by Miss Walker, which is Sakaguchi's company, Final Fantasy guy.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it. It's not bad. It's a lot like Final Fantasy 6 in its presentation and like I don't know, kind of has like a steampunky feel to it. But
I think it'd be fun. Oh, sorry.
I signed up for Apple Arcade to review that. That's also why I bought a Mac Mini because I wanted to be able to easily use the Apple Arcade and have it on a computer system.
Oh, yep.
So that's why I have a Mac. But I just haven't gotten around to actually doing it. I'm still working on this fucking review I'm working on now.
I did I did it because I wanted to play Lego Build and then I got it on PC. And I
Oh
think that'd
yeah,
be a fun one to review because it's short, sweet, looks great. Good storytelling.
review a game. I'll gladly put it up. I
Yeah.
need fucking reviews.
I'm
as
trying to get
much
through.
as much as I love streaming shit, I need like non-ephemeral data. Podcast, let's play stream. It's all like ephemeral. It only lasts of the time of recording to maybe a week later. The ones that are like, we play Galarians or some like goofy ass game and we play it to completion, those are archive quality. I can put up on the channel. People are like, oh, look at these idiots playing fucking Galarians. It's, I don't know, maybe 6 hours long. But if you do
I have
things
this
like, go ahead.
I have this idea in the next week or two because I know we're kind of in the process of rebuilding and doing some other shit for the channel, is where go buy like an indie game for 15, $20 every 2 weeks or something and then review it just because I play a ton of games and at this point, why not? Like last we only did a top 5. I could have easily done a top 15, top 20. I was telling you that in a side conversation. And I'm playing a bunch of fucking indie shit, and there's no point why I shouldn't just be reviewing them and stuff like that because they are good games. They are on like and this is for all the listeners out there who have stuck with us for 41 great episodes. Like we just can't keep saying that there's so many great games on Game Pass and shit, and not actually like show people them. We're a group of people who love showcasing games, and then we never showcase the great games we're playing on Game Pass or Epic, or because I play 90% of those fucking free games, just even if it's for an hour or so, just to see how they are.
I install one every maybe 10. If I play it at that point, that's another statistic I gotta tally up. It's not very often.
I try to give a few of them a chance, especially if it's a genre I liked. I think one of them was like Hell Unleashed or something like that. I tried to play it
Oh,
and it was
Hellbringer.
okay. I played like an hour or two of Wild Cat Gun Machine. That was okay.
Oh yeah, that game was on my want list for I don't know, maybe a year on Steam, and then it just came up as free one day. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Raising Hell is cool. I want to play Gloomhaven. I need to play that. That was on it's supposed to be one of the best board games.
Yeah, yeah. I think I have that
Wonder
board game if I didn't sell it to Bull Moose that time. I
Wonder
think
Boy looks great. I need to play that.
there's a new Wonder Boy. Or are you talking about the one that was out a few years ago?
The one that was out a few years ago that's really well animated that you guys can see that I'm fucking sharing my screen.
Yeah, it's
Amsterdam is great. I bought that a while back.
I think they just released a Wonder Boy collection. I'm very curious about that. Wonder Boy is a very weird and confusing series.
Fuser is great. That's a fun one, but that wasn't free.
Fuser? Oh yeah, Fuser's servers are shutting down. So if you want to get the
What?
DLCs, yeah, if you want to get the DLCs, you got to do it in X amount of time because it is
Oh, cool.
going to be
That's
shutting
good to
down.
know because I really dig that game a lot.
Yeah. Is that an Epic
Um,
exclusive or is that also on Steam?
believe it's epic.
Oh, okay. I know Epic owns that studio now. It's Harmonix.
It was a game that was a better music program than it was a game. I didn't find the single player that fun, but I really dug like me and my son would play it for a bit because he was that point I think he was 2 or 3 when that came out, so he just liked grabbing the CDs and putting them together or the records and putting them together.
I bought the prequel to that game where it was a physical board and you dropped cards. Was it like Drop Mix, I think it was called? I've never played it, but I have the whole set. I have the cards and everything. I'm like, one day I'll play this, but
You can't buy
haven't.
it anymore.
I already have it, brother. Oh, you talking about Fuser?
Yeah,
I'd load it up and see if you can still get the DLC, and then if there's DLC you want, I'd grab it at some
that's a
point. Yeah, I don't know if I covered that in
a
the podcast or not. I don't remember if I did. I need to keep an active log of stories because I come across stuff randomly, and then before the show, I just pull a bunch of random shit up. It's like, yeah, that's what we're talking about today.
I was wondering. I'm like, oh, I can't find it. I was like, oh, it's because it's unavailable.
Delisted.
No,
All
for
right.
fundable. Yeah. So what else?
The U.S. court has said that the Joy-Con drift is not Nintendo's fault because the users agreed to a EULA.
Yeah.
Yep. So get fucked, everybody who wanted a replacement of Joy-Con for their shitty joystick design, because apparently when you buy a Switch, you say it's okay to sell me junk parts.
Yeah.
At least we got the right to repair.
I
Yeah.
guess. I guess you might as well go shell out $60, go buy a new Nintendo accessory.
What you can do, and it's not for the faint of heart, but you can buy those. What the fuck are those? I always forget the name of them. The better joysticks. They put the better joystick technology. You can buy them third party. Hall Effect, I believe they're called. You can buy Hall Effect sticks and put them in yourself, and I think they're only like maybe $3 or $4 each. But you just have to open up the Joy-Con, and those things are they are kind of a pain in the ass to open up. There's a bunch of tiny ribbons in there. You can rip one out, and then you got to buy a new one.
Yeah, I heard that's like one of the biggest issues is the second that it's like you can do it, but I heard it's kind of fucked if you
You can
mess
fuck
up
it
with
up.
one of those ribbons. Yeah, easy.
Yeah, because it's attached to both sides. You gotta unlatch a little lock, and then you can pull the belt ribbon out, and then you can separate them. But if you do it before, then it'll probably either rip your cable, it'll pull up the contacts for that where that lock is. I had to change Sam's joysticks out once, but I know
Re-
I fix a lot of shit, so I'm a little more used to it. It's not for the
I bought an accidental
average dude.
warranty, and every time my Switch fucked up, I just stomped on it.
And then they say, "Hey, get fucked. You don't have your Zelda data anymore."
Yep, and then I never play it again.
So yeah, fuck the Switch.
Yeah, Switch is
That's
awful.
that's my official review. Fuck the Switch.
My Switch has like 16 cracks on it. My son uses it, and when it falls apart, that's the end of it, and I'm okay with
My
it.
Switches all
It's
work fine. I just don't like using them because they look like shit and they have bad frame rates and the controllers suck. It's not
oh
a
my
great
god, that
system.
Switch Pro controller is the worst controller in the history of controllers.
I imagine you have a lot of problems, Mr. Tetris player. A lot of people saying, "Yeah, it's fine. I don't have any issues." Like, yeah, try playing Tetris with that fucking thing.
Yeah, do hard drop. Go play Tetris 99 with someone and have hard drop set for up on that thing, and tell me it's not the most frustrating thing where you accidentally yell at a loved one because of a fucking controller.
Stop beating your family over Tetris, Brett.
I didn't beat him. I yelled though. My wife is like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "The fucking controller." Like I
You
wasn't even like yelling at her about it, but it was just like, she's like, "Are you okay over there?
you
You
did this,
yelling about a
Nintendo.
controller?"
You're
Like
doing
you did this
this.
to me. You're sending me to family counseling, Nintendo. No.
This is when I need the hand tracking, so I can point at the camera.
This is your fault, Nintendo.
I should see how much those gloves cost to track my hands. If they're like reasonable, I might actually buy them.
Think about how many little kids were grounded because of Nintendo Drift controllers, and it wasn't even their fault.
Yeah, it was controller's
What?
fault.
You swear
Sure.
I've done nothing. You've been playing it for 6 hours a day, Timmy. This is the reason you should be doing geometry homework.
I bought a bootleg replica Switch Pro controller, and that had a better D-pad than the actual original Nintendo one, which was shocking
Yeah,
and
I did the same
embarrassing.
thing. Yeah, but a wired one. It worked better.
Yeah. For my
Helped
Switch,
me
when I
out.
actually use the fucking thing, I use the 8-bit toe.
I
I
was
have
just
a
gonna say, I'm looking at my 8-bit dough right now.
I have the SN Pro 2, I believe it's called, SN30 Pro 2. It's the one it has the handles and it has the back paddles. Oh, that's a great
I have the
controller.
wireless one. I have the wired one, and it's the SN30 Pro.
I still got my Stadia controller here. I've been using it for about a week now. I like the Stadia controller. I know I've mentioned this before in the podcast, but this I don't know why Gersman hates it so much. He's got a record saying it's terrible. I think it's like a perfectly serviceable controller. I like it more than, a good chunk of mine. It has a nice little curve to it. It's like rounded, has a good press on the
I'm
triggers. It's solid.
I'm bummed I never signed up for one because I wanted one because they look pretty solid.
Both Taylor and I think it's because we were YouTube premium members. We're paying the $12 a month for the YouTube music and the ad-free YouTube. So they just sent me and him both a free Stadia controller with a Chromecast. That's why I haven't. I would have bought one otherwise. But
And is it gonna work after the service goes offline? Did they make it like usable?
yeah, last week or 2 weeks ago, recently they released a tool. You plug it into your computer, you go to a Chrome browser, go to a website. It will deactivate the Wi-Fi mode because these controllers are connected via Wi-Fi. It was to reduce latency, so you have a direct connection to the router as opposed to going through something TwoSat to, because cloud gaming. So they
Yeah.
disabled that mode and they enabled the Bluetooth mode. So now it's just a Bluetooth controller. But I can't use it on Stadia anymore, unfortunately. I have revoked my access. So all those Stadia games that I can no longer play because they don't exist anymore, I can no longer use my controller for. They
Did
give
you
you
see what Rockstar did?
the game company or the energy drink.
The game company.
What do they do this time?
Basically, they saw someone had like 900 hours or something like that in Red Dead Redemption Online. So because they're turning off the server for it, they sent him like a huge care package worth of stuff.
Did they give him like a computer or something that can play Red Dead?
I hope they sent. I think they sent him like a copy of the game and on like a digital code that he could redeem somehow.
That's hoping he has a computer. That game is not a slouch to run.
Let me look. You
You
guys
want a
can
good
look up.
frame rate, you gotta have like a decent video card. What were the Stadia servers using? Were they using 2080s, 3080s? I don't remember.
See.
I know the lower tier of the NVIDIA
Oh,
streaming
he had
program,
6,000.
6,000 hours?
Yeah, he said he racked up over 6,000 hours on Stadia version of the game has been sent to care package.
Interesting. No, that's nice of them. I mean, it's nothing for them.
And
They're fucking one of the biggest companies in the world, but, still nice to see. They give them a
not
nice...
one is a copy of the game.
Have you seen those collector's editions they sell that don't have the game with them? Have you seen these?
Yeah,
Have you
the fuck
seen
is
these?
what the fuck is the
What's the
why?
deal with these special editions? Now let me tell you about trans people. Yeah, those are ridiculous. Ah,
And care package them. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool of him. I'm wondering the thing. Oh, it says he earned Red Dead Redemption gold bars, XP tokens to another account on PC, and he's like, oh, uh, reached out to him with the news that anyone who played Red Dead Redemption 2 in the Stadia within 30 days prior to the Google announcement will be able to transfer. Oh, cool. That's nice.
yeah, a lot of people let you transfer. I think Destiny did it. Uh,
Yep.
Something else. I don't know. I don't know what was on Stadia. I played it once. I
I
played
transferred
Panzer
my Destiny
Dragoon
characters.
to what? Oh, I did the transfer from what was it? It was on BattleNet and it's changed to Steam, I think. But I don't even play Destiny. I don't give a shit
I did it to Steam, I think, and I just so I could get my characters, but I load up that game and buy the DLC like every 6 months, and then I never play them.
because it's not a very good game.
No, man, Halo's a better fucking Destiny than Destiny is at this point.
Halo, more like everybody got fired low.
Whoa, really?
They laid off 96 people and they say the internal work is all being to be a swap over to Unreal Engine.
Oh shit.
So that's why there's been no content delivery because they're trying to get the game over to a different engine before they start working on that stuff.
That will do it.
Yeah, so good times over there at the 343. Whatever studio is that the one who made those shitty? No, that was 989 who made the
That was
shitty.
99.
Yeah, they made the shitty PS1 games.
99 studios basically told their employees to come and take the day off the release of oh, what was that game that they released? Kingdoms of Amalur, and that they were all going to take the day off and play Diablo 2 together. And then as
Oh,
they were taking the day off, they all found out that they were laid off.
that's a different company. Yeah, that
No,
was
it's not.
989 was the in-house Sony studio that made shitty. It made like Twisted
Yes,
Metal 3 and Cool
that was
Borders 4 and shit, like all the bad ones.
yeah, that was Kurt Schilling Studios.
Yeah. We've discussed this like 10 times on this show and I can never remember the name of that fucking studio. It's like themed after fucking not Foxborough, Fenway. It's like related to that, and I can't even remember the fucking thing. I can
I
see
can't
Fenway from
either.
here.
I know they're based out of Rhode Island. I know the state of Rhode Island sued
Yeah.
them.
Say Kurt Schilling Studio. Let's see here. 38 studios. 38.
That's the one.
Yeah. Yeah. And which one's the Halo one? Is that 343?
Yes.
I know things occasionally at certain times. I know Point Blank is Gun Bullet. I know the important things.
You know all the shit.
Yeah, exactly. Knockout City got shut down.
What?
It's getting shut down in June.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like that game very much anyway.
I didn't either, but that's kind of surprising. That was quick.
It was one of those that was hot for like a day, and then nobody talked about it ever again. That was the EA release free to play dodgeball game at a time where 3 other dodgeball games came out. It was a awkward time. Uh,
That's hilarious.
the game was incredibly frustrating. I would clearly block something and say, "Nah, bro, you got hit in the fucking face," and my shit would never hit. It was very aggravating to play. It's like playing that DKO, where sometimes you just play that and you just want to fucking just throttle somebody. Uh, that's all I got on that. Something about EA. They're focusing on all the AAA games again, as opposed to some more obscure special interest games. They want to just make money, which is what EA likes to do. So that's not shocking at all.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. I talked about the iOS Android thing.
So bring on Battlefield.
Oh, I had the story right here. Sorry, it was 95 people at 343, and it was 343 Studios. So that story's done. They delayed Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Is that 2, or is it just called Survivor? I don't know.
I think it's just called Jedi Survivor.
What was the last one called? It was
Yeah, I'm not
Jedi
sure though.
colon something. Outcast? I don't know.
Jedi Outcast.
Because that was a game. That was Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. It doesn't matter. The game was delayed.
You guys might
Fallen
see my
Order.
fuser
Fallen
game
Order
in a
was the
second.
previous one.
Because I'm sharing my screen.
Hey,
And
man,
I'm
I need to
checking
see
out
your.
Fuser.
I need to see your beautiful kitty.
Nah, we gotta see if the Fuser store's back up so we can have hot takes.
Oh boy.
Hot takes.
Uh, there's been a few things going on in the world of emulation.
Well,
The
like what?
Atari 50 had a in-house developed. It was through Digital Clips. They developed a Atari Jaguar emulator, and I believe today they released the standalone version of the emulator. So you can now emulate Jaguar games to a high fidelity. There was an emulator before; it was not very good. You'd play games and some things just wouldn't render, a lot of sounds wouldn't work. The one that was in Atari 50, from what I played a lot of Cybermorph for some reason, and that worked perfectly fine. So people were like, "What is this emulator? What are you doing with this?" And he's like, "I don't know. It's here." And today, it's officially they just said, "Here, take it, release it." So
That's pretty cool.
he can play those like 50 Jaguar games and those like 13 Jaguar CD games on
Was
your
there anything
PC.
good for the Jaguar?
No, there was an exclusive Bubsy game, a decent port of Doom, that Alien vs Predator game that was pretty okay. Um, Cybermorph. There's Blue Thunder on this Jaguar CD. Maybe a few other things, but there's a lot of ports and a lot of not good games, like that terrible fighting game, which I always forget the name of. But that was like the big
Yeah, the
game that was gonna.
Ninja Warrior or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them was by Naughty Dog for the 3DO, and the other one was made for the Jaguar.
I
And
don't
that was
really
like
know
the
either of
last
these games.
game that was pretty much canceled at the last moment. And I think they did release it at the very end. There's a big story behind that game. It was like the last hope they had for Atari, and by the time they released it, like half of Atari was gone. Like all the studios shut down and shit. Crazy. They also ported the Xenia emulator, which is a 360 emulator, to the Xbox Series X, which is Xenia is not a feature complete emulator. It's still very much in the experimental phase. So a lot of stuff works, but a lot of stuff doesn't at all. So it's a weird time to port that over to a less powerful hardware.
Yeah,
But
that's kind of weird.
there are games that do work. Like you can play Katamari the one that was on the 360, A Beautiful Katamari. That game works perfectly fine. So that's great to have. The Series X does have native 360 support if it's backwards compatible, but not all games are. So there's some things like a lot of Xbox Live games that were pulled down, delisted, I guess is the term. Some that just aren't compatible, like Radiant Silvergun, I don't think works in the Xbox Series X. That works perfectly fine in the emulator. A lot of the indie stuff works perfectly fine. Uh, Tenchu Z is almost working. There's graphical glitches. I know things like Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey work already on the 360 or on the newer system, so you don't have to worry about those. But trying to
Blue
think what
Dragon's pretty good.
it's it's a Dragon Quest game. That's what it
Exactly,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of like the only. It was one of the better RPGs that came out though. For like, there wasn't many for the 360, but it was a fun one.
360, you had Star Ocean 4,
Lost
Blah,
Odyssey
Lost Odyssey, you had Blue
and
Dragon, you had Magna Carta 2, you had that what was that fucking terrible game? I always forget the name of it. I think it was by From Software. What was that one called? Enchanted Arms, I believe. That game sucked. Don't worry about that one. You had the original release of Tales of Vesperia. It used to be
oh
exclusive.
yep,
You had what else? You had Eternal Sonata, which was another game I always forget the English name of. It's Trinity Bell in Japanese.
that
They,
was pretty good too.
that was a good game. They did within the lifespan of that generation. They did port it to the PS3. Same thing with Star Ocean 4. Infinite Undiscovery, which is the best name ever made for a video game, which is not a bad game. It's a Tri-Ace game. It was the era of them using those really weird doll models like Star Ocean 4 uses. Creepy as shit. But yeah, there was not many JRPGs in 360. Final Fantasy 13. Everybody's favorite.
Is it X3? Isn't that what everyone's waiting for? Is X13 or X3? I saw someone post something in one of my Facebook groups that they really wanted X3 really bad. I didn't know that was a game people really cared.
Like 10-3?
10-3, yeah.
Why would anybody want that?
I don't know. I was wondering if I was just missing something.
10's a terrible video game.
I thought so too, and I thought 10-2 was kind of bumming. It bummed me out that it was better than 10, which isn't saying much. But
10-2 is a fun game. It does not at all take itself seriously, and it has a pretty cool job system where you just change your clothes, and that is your job. So it has that going for it. It's an interesting game as opposed to 10 being bland and stupid. Waste my goddamn time. Dodge 1,000 lightning bolts. Was it 100 lightning bolts to get his ultimate weapon? Stupid.
oh, that was so dumb. And if you missed it, didn't it reset?
Yeah, it reset.
Every single yeah.
Final Fantasy 10 is a bad game, people.
Bad game. Stop liking it.
The love story. Oh, you mean that cardboard cutout character?
Stop telling me it's
I
good.
have emotions now. Fuck that game.
I'm a guy who. Oh my god, I hate him.
You got jock boy, you got racist, you got bland, you got cool goth girl with belts, you got peppy girl, you got stoic old man who's only like 32, but he's old man, and blue guy who just stands there. That is your party.
I think I'm dying. I'm falling in love with a ghost.
A dream.
I'm a dream.
Oh god.
Somehow, she's getting rid of every ghost, but I'm not affected.
He's not a ghost, he's a fucking dream. He doesn't actually
Ugh.
exist. He's a dream.
I'm a
From his
dream
from his
who's
dad who's a fucking space whale. It's this is in the game.
he has daddy issues to a space whale dream.
Oh goddamn. Goddamn. What else happened in emulation news? Vita 3K can play Uncharted now, but it's not the best Uncharted game, but it's there. You can play it on your PC. Vita 3K has actually been making a lot of progress, and I've been screwing around with it. You can play that Monkey Ball game that was exclusive to it. Perfect. You can play Shinobi 2, a bunch of stuff like that. Big fan.
Oh no, the store's offline.
Oh no. Well, sorry everybody. I was late in reporting the news, but I'm sure if you cared, you would have known.
This feature is available without network connection.
Womp womp.
No, bye, Fuser.
Uh, there's a company called Phoenix Labs. They're buying their independence from somebody. Garena. I know I read this before and I forgot who they were, but the tab is open, so I'm just going to tell you. So, congratulations, Phoenix Labs, and your independence for that game you make. It's a great game.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, more power to you.
What game
Everybody's.
is it?
I have no idea. Oh, they make Dauntless. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Monster Hunter free to play game. Okay. I don't know. Any new stories?
Let's see. Oh, I guess the store is shutting down on December 19th.
What, the Fuser one? So
Yeah.
I'm like 2 months late?
Yep.
I thought I heard
The
that like a
Diamond
week
Shop.
ago.
Well, online portion of the game will shut down. Fuser will still be playable offline. So if you want to look good while you vibe and grind your campaign or just freestyle, here's your chance to pick them up. It's shut down on the 9th. Sucks to be me, nerd.
Yeah. I mean, if you cared enough, you would have already bought them.
I probably would have supported it more.
Did you know that Starbreeze made a John Wick VR game back in like 2017?
Really?
Yeah, I was looking through Starbreeze's catalog because I was playing that Syndicate game they made back in like 2012. And
Oh,
yeah, they made a
well,
VR fucking John Wick, which seems on paper like the perfect place you'd want to play a John Wick game because I have that strategy game that wasn't very good, and that's not a
I was gonna
great
say
John Wick game.
the Hexagon game or whatever the
I
fuck
think
it
it's
was.
called I think it's called John Wick Hex, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, not a great game, but in theory, a VR John Wick would be great. That'd just be what's that fucking game? Super hot. You think?
No, it's the other game that came out too. The that you had me buy. That I'm pulling it up now. Bought it back in. It's the other one that you like end up shooting a bunch of shit with.
Pistol Whip?
It might be pistol. No, maybe.
Pistol Whip is like it's kind of based on a rhythm, and you walk down a
Yes.
corridor, and they come at you, and
Yep.
you.
I
Yeah,
say pistol whip would be more like John Wick.
I'll take that. That's a dope ass game too.
I loved pistol whip.
Yeah. I bought prescription lenses that plug into my headset so I can now use it because I ran out of contacts months ago and I haven't used my VR. But I got they were like $80, came in about a week, and they pop over your lenses internally. Uh Perfectly fine, no discomfort or anything, and I played some Resident Evil 4 VR. They work really well. Surprised I didn't buy these sooner. Because I had contacts specifically because I wanted to play my VR headset, and it was just a pain in the ass. I had this like tiny pair of glasses I bought, and they sucked, and I lost them. I don't know the fuck they are. Then I didn't
Just
feel like buying more contact lenses. So I'm like, I'll just get these snap-in lenses that are made specifically for this one purpose, and yeah, great purchase.
I just used my VR headset for the first time in like 3 months and to play those new golf courses that came out.
All right, walkabout.
Really great. Yeah, Mist was fun. It was like if you enjoy the game, I enjoyed Mist more than I liked the Labyrinth one. Labyrinth was a love letter, but Mist was just they added some cool elements to it. Like there was triggers that you had to hit to get your like to make the hole and stuff appear. So that was really neat, especially if you enjoy Mist, the environment of it. And Atlantis was just easy, but it was a fun one because it was just underwater and a bunch of cool like loop-de-loops and shells and shit like that. But that game just keeps getting better.
Yeah, I did you have to buy this DLC separate?
Yep, $3 each,
So I got to buy
18
that.
hole.
I had all the DLC up until these new ones, unless you could have pre-ordered it because I bought a bunch of shit at once.
Um, 18 holes, and it unlocks for $3. I think it's really worth it just because you get 36 holes potentially because you get easy and hard mode.
For those who are not in the know, Walkabout is it called Walkabout Mini Golf?
Yep, Walkabout Mini Golf.
It's just straight up a mini golf course. It's a little, fantastical, whimsical, but it's more or less the same rules as playing mini golf, and it works really well. But the base set has like a pirate themed stage and a like a space
Yeah,
stage, and then there's a bunch of DLC packs. There's been some themed ones, and the newest releases are the game Mist, you're in Mist Island, and then one for the movie Labyrinth.
Yep, and they've let's see. I think the base game was $12, and like Tom had said, you get the four or five uh first ones you get. I think you get a pirate ship, space, west, and a I want to say a graveyard. And then there's additional ones. They did El Dorado. They've done Labyrinth. There was oh my God, the Floating Towers of Greece. Sing High. They've done. Then they've done Mist now and the Atlantis. So there's like at least seven more courses, and I buy each one, and I've never been disappointed in any of them.
Yeah.
Because
Except
if you like
Labyrinth,
mini golf, it's
evidently.
just Labyrinth was good. I still play it. I just think it compared to like um Labyrinth is just straight up Labyrinth. I've done that one a bunch of times. I do enjoy it, but I just thought missed with the way that they did some triggers and some of the events was more um intriguing. But we'll see. Because I've done, let's see, I've played through the Labyrinth one at least 6 times, and I've done Mist once or twice so far. We'll see how I play if it keeps my attention like those ones. My favorite one so far is the West one, West or Desert. I think Desert might be the other really cool one, just because it has really sweet like Ocarina of Time desert from like the Desert People. So it's like almost similar to
The
that. So
desert people. Look at you.
what are they called? The
Racist.
what are they called? The thieves.
Them there desert people.
There's desert people over there. No. Do.
You doing the Gerudo Valley theme?
Gerudo Valley, thank you.
Oh, you actually want to know what the Zelda people were called?
You
So you're
know,
referring
the
to
desert
like
people.
actual humans that exist. But yeah, Gerudo.
Some of the best music in the game.
Oh yeah. That's like one of the
Only
few songs I learned how to play guitar. It's not hard.
That's one of the only good reasons to play that game. Fuck Ocarina of Time. Fight me.
It's okay. I don't hate Ocarina of Time, but I think it's way overrated.
I'm beginning to hate Ocarina of Time for the same reasons I don't like Zelda. The last one is just because I think it's an okay game, but I don't think people.
Oh, I love Breath
But
of the Wild.
I would choose Breath of the Wild over Ocarina any day because I like Breath of the Wild without damage.
My two faults with Breath of the Wild are I don't like the weapon degradation, and I wanted more traditional dungeons.
Exactly.
But that game is fantastic.
I think that was it. It was like after I did three or four of the dungeons, I was just like, oh, I wanted like if this game could just have boss keys and the way the other stuff of it's like a 7.5. I got a good chunk of it in it for me. I'll probably give it another chance this winter or maybe whenever I have more time. But there's a bunch of other games on my list right now I want to finish. But it's I don't know.
What I really wanted was Zelda 1, but Breath of the Wild, you know?
Exactly.
You just wander around, you find dungeons, you kind of just go in them, you solve them, whatever, but it's not like. I liked how kind of ambiguous Breath of the Wild is, where it does give you a marker. It's like, go to this town, but you don't have to. You can wander off and do pretty much anything else in the game with no real issue. That's kind of what Zelda 1 was. You just kind of wandered around. You didn't really have a strict guidance, and you kind of stumbled upon things. And it's like, oh, hey, there's a dungeon here. Of course, you needed tools occasionally. You couldn't do them, but, you know.
I enjoyed the open world aspect of that game more than I did the dungeons. Like I like the exploration, the climbing. When you figured out how to kill those one-eyed dudes with the beam with like a fucking pot lid, made you feel like a goddamn badass.
Oh, when you
Like
reflect the beams at him.
oh my God, I was on a bus on my way to visit you, and it was that time that I was supposed to come down, and my bus was like fucking 6 hours late because of traffic in Old Orchard Beach. And I just remember sitting there reflecting that on the bus and just like audibly yelling and people looking at me.
I remember when high school, we're on the bus home, and the kid next to me was playing Madden on his Game Boy Advance. And he started getting excited. And he started jumping up and down. He's like, "Go, go, touchdown!" Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing,
Madden
bro?
93, dog!
Oh yeah, had it been like 2002, 2003 Madden on the Game Boy Advance. The dude was super into it.
You can right now on Game Pass on the Xbox, you can go download NHL 98 with an updated roster.
94.
Yeah, 94
Yeah.
with an updated roster.
Somebody's been updating the roster in Tecmo Bowl. I kind of want to run a Tecmo Bowl.
I think we need to do it. I think we
Yeah,
need to run a Techno Bowl season with stats.
Just a Super Bowl. Just line up the Kansas City versus the
Oh
Eagles and see what
yeah,
the
the
outcome is.
Eagles.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Dun, 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 dun,
I'm
dun,
sure
dun.
somebody else has already done it on Twitch, but it'd be
I
fun to
think
do.
we could even do it on the regular Techno Bowl right now because KC and Philly are both two teams on Techno Bowl, I believe.
I'm sure the roster's not the same.
Yeah, but you could still do it.
You
Just like
could.
you could still play Techno Bowl for the NES Mini, and Bo Jackson is still there, but he's not Bo Jackson, but
Is
he
he
still runs like Bo
is
Jackson.
he still broken as fuck?
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay. What
the
did they do
Japanese
for
love
that? Did,
themselves Bo Jackson.
did they just rename all the characters to generic names?
I don't think they have player names anymore. I think they just have their numbers.
Oh, that's boring.
And it's just like touchdown. And they still do the animation and everything like that, but I would have almost been like happier if they did like Runny McRunnerson or something like that.
Ronnie McMartison.
I'm reading Bo Jackson's book.
Woody
It's pretty cool.
McBall. Going for a long
They,
one.
they loved him because he just of how much of a beast he was on a running. It was like
Surprised the
only game
Japanese
I
know
can
what
think
American
of.
football is.
Yeah,
They love baseball. I know that much.
love it. During the pandemic, they put stuffed animals in the audience so that way there was people there.
I've purchased multiple systems from Japan that came with a disc for that. Was it that Konami series, that like super deformed baseball game? So I have
I
multiple discs only of that fucking baseball game, different years of it.
I enjoy Baseball Stars from Namco
Baseball Stars? No, Baseball
or
Stars is
SNK. My
the
bad.
SNK game, yeah.
I just reinstalled it. It's actually like on one of my top listed games.
Shin Nippon Kokatsu. That's what it is, right?
Yeah,
What's business? Like in Tekken, the Kaikatsu, is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah. New Japan Enterprise, or what the fuck that's called. SNK.
Yes,
Uh
I just installed the SNK collection for the Switch just to see what it was, and it was like a bunch of weird fucking games. I like going down the. Oh no, it was Neo Geo Pocket Color games
oh, Neo
collection.
Geo Pocket Color is fucking rad. That was a system that died too soon.
Yeah, agreed.
And we never got the Wonder Swan here, which is another cool system.
Had a bunch of really nifty little games on it. Like I like weird shit, and I enjoy myself some of those older games, but I really like old school weird platformer games like Yo Noid and shit once in a while, or games that make no fucking sense that I can just get a run or two out of.
Yo Noid was a normal game in Japan, and then they licensed it in the US release. It was a
Hard
Mario
game.
Brothers 2 situation. Yeah, it was a Capcom game. It was
It
perfectly
was fun
playable.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just reminded me of like any of the Chip and Dale ones had a fun multiplayer game in the middle of it, the Pizza Tower Stack, and
Down on Nintendo.
that was another weird one. Like, I'm trying to think of another weird game. Acclaim had. I remember when Acclaim owned the X-Men rights for a while, and they made a bunch of weird fucking games like X-Men versus Arcade.
So it was all under the LJN banner.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
like, oh, you get to be Storm underwater. I remember that in the comic books.
those games sucked.
They were so fucking bad. I got that
Bad.
for Christmas one year with Zelda, and I was just like, Mom, why?
I don't know. You like comic books, and there's a game with the comic book guy. It's like why everybody had a copy of The Simpsons, at least one of them. Bart versus
Or Rock.
whatever.
My mom beat that game back in the day.
I'm sorry.
She beat um that was like one of her games she enjoyed was she could beat Bart versus the space aliens. And she's like the only person I've ever seen make it because it has some of that most bullshit like platforming at the end to get to the lava, the tar pits and shit. And she could. My mom was good at Zelda. I mean, yeah, she was good at Zelda, Mario Brothers, Galaga, Tetris, and for some reason she was like fucking insanely good at Bart versus the space aliens for some reason. Those were like her jams.
My grandmother played games with me, and she really liked MC Kids on the NES. That was her jam. That game
When
is
you were,
great. I'm not gonna say it's bad because that game is awesome and it has a great
yep,
soundtrack, but she beat that game, and it's not an easy game to beat.
I like Alex the Kid in the one where you get different helmets. Is that Alex the Kid?
No, you're thinking of Kid Icarus. Not Kid
Kid,
Icarus, Kid Chameleon.
yeah, that one was fun.
Yeah.
My mom used to, we played all the way through Link to the Past together, and I remember she beat me, like our first playthrough, she beat me by 20 lives, and I was so pissed.
You guys died in Zelda.
The Link to the Past and the first playthrough back in like the day, yeah, it was like 100 and I think my first one was like 135 deaths.
Fifth.
I like that game a lot.
Yeah, some would call it a good game. Some would say
Some
it's
would call
the
it
best
my
video game
favorite
ever
one.
made.
Some would call it the best Zelda game ever made.
Yeah, I don't know who would actually do that. That'd be crazy, but some people have that opinion.
Fucking me.
Yeah, me too.
Good.
You know how I feel.
I know how you feel.
Um, we got a we got a new game coming out called Wanted Dead, which was brought to my attention today by Charlotte in the Discord. And I've never heard of this game, but it is being made by the team who made Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive. And it looks like Dead or Alive, not Dead or Alive, sorry. It looks like Ninja Gaiden without the main character. It looks really cool, but it's going to be $60 and it comes out in about 2 weeks. I've never heard of it until today, so I'm very I can't speak today.
But
I'm cautiously optimistic about the game.
buying it day one.
$60 though, I don't know. It seems like a game that would be on Game Pass, but it has not been listed as being released on Game Pass.
That's worth 2 hours of my life.
You'd pay $60 for a 2-hour game?
I meant like for work wise.
Oh, I see.
It looks really good. It looks violent.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be just like Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, it is a new hybrid slasher shooter from the makers of Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive. The game follows a week in a life of zombie unit and an elite Hong Kong police squad on a mission to uncover a major corporate conspiracy.
When I heard it was being made by the team who brought you Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive, I instantly thought it was gonna be Itadaki. So I had to check. Is Itadaki making this game because I will not be able to play it? I think because he's a big sex pest. But no, he made his own studio, called it Apex Games, which is a terrible name to call your studio when there's actively a game called Apex Legends out there. And he's making a game called Warrior, and I guess it uses NFTs. So I don't know what the fuck that guy's doing. Good luck to you, brother.
This one looks great. Like the first animation I saw was like them cutting off a hand and then one going through the head. I played the shit out of the Ninja Gaiden games. I beat Ninja Gaiden 1 multiple on hard. I beat Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma. Those games are my jam. I could play the shit out of those
The
games
3D
forever.
ones, not the NES ones.
No, the 3D ones. I
Yeah,
beat all the NES ones too.
I did too.
But I would say that one for the Xbox was the reason I bought an Xbox.
Oh, of course, that was a big seller. Ninja Gaiden
I
Black.
couldn't fucking stop that game when that first came out. I remember one of my friends was just like, "I owe you $40, or you could keep this copy of Ninja Gaiden." And I was like, "Yep." And I'm gonna go buy an Xbox today because I was borrowing his at the time.
Good game.
Was that and Dead Rising, sadly, but Dead Rising was the first one was pretty bad.
Dead Rising was 360.
Oh, yep, that was the 360.
Yeah, I didn't like that game either.
I didn't either. I thought it was kind of overrated.
Yeah, I didn't understand the praise. It was kind of cool there were so many zombies, but they just kind of like thudded to the ground when you hit them, and the timing mechanic was stupid, and all your AI characters were dumb. So it was very
Next,
frustrating to play.
I think next week we should do 5 overrated games that sold systems.
Oh, maybe that's a
I
topic.
think it's a fun one.
Yeah,
Ridge Racer.
Ridge Racer
PlayStation
has
1.
one fucking track, and then you can reverse it. You can go the other
I
way.
know.
For the second
I
track, it's the same track but backwards.
I remember getting that demo disc for the PlayStation with that and Tekken 2 on it. I'm like, well, I don't need to buy Ridge Racer now.
Yeah, Ridge Racer R4, great game. Ridge Racer 1, not recommended. I'd rather
Fallout
play,
number 1 recommended.
I'd rather play Daytona USA.
Oh, that's a good one.
Daytona.
The Daytona ones for the N64, funny enough, are pretty good too.
Cruising.
Yeah, no, they had like some Daytona, I mean NASCAR ones, like the wrecking ones. I thought were pretty
Oh,
fun.
yeah. Which was Heat?
But
Was Heat on PS1 or is that later?
PlayStation 2.
Okay. I had a NASCAR. I want to say it's called NASCAR Thunder. Is that the game?
Those games were rad too because you could play through like your rookie season. I enjoyed those quite a bit. And I enjoy like any ones that had a fucking career mode. I just played the shit out of like Fight Night. I loved. because it was like you're fighting in the county fair, and then all of a sudden you're fighting like people inside Vegas, inside the wherever.
Yeah. Yeah.
They haven't had a good racing game in a while though that has had like you play
NASCAR?
through the standings. Yeah,
Yeah, I listened to a podcast where a guy really likes racing games and he says he's been continuously disappointed with the NASCAR output. I guess they had a really good game a few years ago and then they could never live up to that level again. They've all been steadily declining quality.
I've been
I,
playing Wreckfest, but that's just like back road, um, destruction derby type racing, and it's not
you don't
exactly.
say, with a name like Wreckfest.
If you haven't played it though, anyone who's listening or if you enjoy racing games, it's basically uh dirty backyard like back pit racing for if you're like from the woods, it's like dirt track and destruction rise, but there's also in the middle of racing series of trying to make sure that your car survives 3 or 4 different heats. There's regular destruction derby, which is a lot of fun. So it's got a nice mix. I'm usually not a big racing fan, but I ended up playing it for like 2.5 hours the other night, and I was like, oh, okay, I should probably go do stuff.
Yeah, racing I've been playing Need for Speed, the new one.
Oh, is that?
I like it. I'm not the biggest fan of open world racing games, but the actual racing's pretty fun. And it has a really unique art style to it. It's
Control pretty decent.
yeah, solid. It's on sale right now, I believe, for $30, which is
I might
worth
go.
it. I wouldn't get it for the 60 they wanted for it, but yeah, 30 is worth it.
I want to play it, and if it's still 30, I'll probably go buy it just because I wanted to see what you thought of it before um I dropped money. If you are looking for a racing simulator, I think it's called iRacing.
Oh yeah, that's too
But
high level
that's
for
just
me.
that's fucking if you're looking for crazy. My nephew who actually races, um, we get him a subscription for it, and he likes it just because you can change the dirt track and the way the tires work, and if you're a gearhead, you can go batshit crazy into it. But that depends on how high
I'm
you
a
are when it comes to that.
I'm a Forza Motorsport fan. That's my game. I'm looking forward to the new one. I'm not a big fan of the Horizon games because they're stupid. They're very fucking dumb. And I like my more, not strictly simulation, but more of an arcade simulator like a Gran Turismo or a Forza. And GT7 was a giant disappointment, so I'm hoping this next Forza is a good game.
Think I might pick up Ancestors though, because it's on sale right now for $10.
What the fuck is that?
It's the one where you go from ape into human.
Is it the one made by the weirdo Ubisoft guy?
I don't know, is it Private Division,
That was that.
developed by Panch Digital Games?
I don't know who that is.
Oh no, they're the people who do Kerbal.
Quibble. I think that sequel's coming out soon. I've never played Kerbal. It does not look like a game I'd enjoy. People like it though.
I have it. I think it's complicated. I've watched my old roommate do a bunch of cool shit. Um, it's definitely for a mind of people who like breaking down individual parts because I literally have like when I lived with my old roommate, I went to bed at like 7 and I woke up to like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. the next day and he was still playing it just like, look, I can launch it to the moon and stuff. And I'm like, I can barely get anything out of atmosphere without it fucking shooting 16 ways, so
What I feel about when I see people make shit in Gary's mod when they do really impressive stuff. I'm like, I can
right.
make this canister stick to this piece of wood and they fly together.
Exactly. I get
I
so
did
bummed
something.
out when I'm like when I'm playing a building game or something like that or a survival game. I'm like, I made a sweet base, and then you go pull up a menu and people are building like skyscrapers. You're like, I suck at fucking life.
Yeah. I'm much more of a destruction kind of guy over building stuff, I've
I
discovered.
think I think I played on your Minecraft server when you had it up for a while, and I built this sweet
Might
base in a
still
waterfall,
be up. I don't know. I don't play
and then
Minecraft.
I went to the other part of the server where these like Canadians and Swedish people were, and they're just like, "Hey, welcome." I'm like, "What the fuck is this utopia?"
This actually generates power. It's powering the server right now. Yeah. Let's see. I think that's all I got for news. I mentioned that Wanted
Cool.
Dead game. You know, fuck Hogwarts. I don't give a shit about Harry Potter and
Yeah,
J.K. Rowling's a monster.
I just read on Twitter that someone who worked on the game, who knows someone who worked on the game, said it's a mediocre RPG. Customization is being overrated for what it actually is, and that I guess there's a token trans character in there that's barely in the game, just to
Yeah.
try to get their narrative away from it.
When are they gonna
So,
when are they gonna
yeah,
put in the Dewey McFearnstein in there? We don't hate the
surprise,
Jews.
surprise,
There's the Jewish
surprise.
character. Hey, Jewy.
I
It's
think
not.
me
It's
and
not
you
a
have
simile
talked about
to
it.
the Holocaust. What are you talking about?
It's gonna sell a lot, and it's gonna be somewhere between a 6 and a 7 rating game on every place.
IGN gave
And
it a
then people,
9 out of 10, I believe.
no, they didn't.
Yeah, the review seemed a little forced. It didn't seem like they particularly liked the game,
Oh
but
my
they gave it
God.
a 9, so it was an interesting
I,
review.
I bet you Game Informer's similar. I bet you fucking Game
Game Informer
Informer.
still exists.
Yep. Let's
I
see.
know. I got their issue a few days ago. It has Resident Evil 4 on the
Review
cover.
in progress. It's prepping for the release, but provided the review code, I'm allowed to review for the embargo. After a few days in the game, I'm not ready to pass along, but I'm roughly 18 hours in.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I'm not gonna play it. I don't think anybody on the site's gonna play it. I don't want it on stream. I want
Nope.
nothing to do with it. Go enjoy your turf game.
Tell
It's
us how it
whatever.
is. I don't, or
No,
don't tell us how it is.
I'd rather you didn't. You
Yeah.
talk to me about fucking Snatcher or something. Something I care about.
Colossal Cave.
Boss,
SpongeBob and the
okay, let's do
Cosmic
it.
Shake.
Yo, man, I'm actually interested in that SpongeBob game.
Got a 7.
I'm willing to try it. Is it on Game Pass?
Maybe. WWE game comes out next month. I can be disappointed for my
Stop
birthday.
buying those fucking games. They're broken
I'm
every
gonna
year.
I'm gonna get someone to buy it for me for my birthday, so I'm not sad. Well,
Oh
maybe I
my
will be.
god. It's like my mother every year. She's like, "Can I get you a game? Like, you can help me pay my debt. How about that? I have enough video games. I got that covered. Don't worry." Want a video game?
No, I want my
Ah,
dad to come up and help me put electrical sockets in so I can plug in a TV on the other side of my room.
seems oddly specific.
It is. All my electrical sockets in my house are loose.
Nice. Just get a nail gun and just go wild in there.
Don't forget to turn off the power or the main or anything like that. Just fucking go to town.
All right, so I guess we can just go into what we've been playing.
Yeah, I've been playing Midnight Sun a lot. If you guys don't know what Midnight Sun is, there was a game released last year, end of last year. It's a card game by Marvel Eidos. Basically the same people who've done XCOM. Turn by turn, 3-person combat. And you're on there's a bad threat, Hydra, bad. Your character gets revived, good, and you go on a bunch of missions. But like the gameplay is similar to card games, but everything is done out in real time. So it's one of the best card games I've ever played. Um, I can't stop. It's basically the only game I've been playing on my free time outside of Tetris and one other game I was about to talk about called Shotgun King: The Final Checkmate.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've seen this.
I've been playing the shit out of this game where you just basically your entire game of chess has been taken over and you're the last standing king with a shotgun and it's turn-based, so you have to jump around the chessboard, but you can blow up all the pieces with a shotgun. So each run, I think I've beaten one run so far. Each run takes like half hour. A lot of fun, quick. But going back to Midnight Sun, that game is fucking phenomenal. Anyone who has been interested in it, it's on sale for another few days, part of that EA sale. Not EA sale. It's on Epic right now, part of the Sega sale. I'm getting confused with another sale. UK. And yeah, $30. Easily worth it. So much fun. If you like card games, you like Slay the Spire, you like Marvel, and I'm not even into the Marvel canon right now. I've been kind of skipping a chunk of the cinema scenes because I just want to get back to the game, but you can kind of put it together. Maybe you'll like the story. I think the Midnight Sun's a cool group. I've watched the cinema scenes I want to, but yeah, it's not your type of game because you don't like cards, but man, it's fucking a lot of fun if you like cards.
Yeah, I saw a card game. I'm like, why? I'll take
Yeah,
X-Men XCOM. That sounds fine. Mario XCOM works surprisingly well, but X-Men card battler XCOM, and that's one too many for me.
they should just do a straight up XCOM one if that's the formula they could do with these moving forward, though, because it's a really good formula.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
What have you been playing?
Oh man, what have I been playing? I'm going to try and go through. my Steam list here, and it's not showing my recent games because it's a pain in my ass. I've definitely been playing a game called Hi-Fi Rush.
Nice. You said how you like about that?
So that game is really cool. It's based on attacking to a beat, and it plays the best way I can sum it up. It plays like a Ratchet and Clank game, has that kind of feel to it, but it's all melee. So you have combos between a heavy and a light attack. If you hit them on the beat, you will get an additional attack that comes up. That's another rhythm based attack. You hit that, you get rated on that. Does more damage. It's a platformer. You run through levels, end up with a boss, fight the boss, like that kind of platformer action game. The style is really cool. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's super high definition, very colorful. It's like a Jet Set game, but it has a deliberate frame animation, like a lesser frame rate than the rest of the world. So all the characters animate in this like very cartoonish comic booky style. And it really stands out. It's a very nice looking game. It has cool music. It has licensed tracks, but I haven't listened to them because I put it on streamer mode because I played the first hour of it on stream. But it has licensed tracks from Nine Inch Nails and some other people. Which hearing Nine Inch Nails and what I play that game, it doesn't seem like a mix, but I'm very curious on how they do that. I hear
Really
it's
interested in that game. Now
yeah,
that's on
it's
Game
on
Pass.
it's on
Yeah.
Game Pass, 100%. It's a Bethesda game. It's by Tango Gameworks, or what the hell that company's called, the one that made Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo. So
Oh,
this
yep.
game is like completely out of left field for them. The last one was a first person like horror game, and then the two before that were Resident Evil like games, like a Resident Evil 4 type of thing. So this like super colorful, cheery, smart talky action game, fucking out of left field. Crazy good. And I still don't agree with all those papers that were, or those articles talking about how it was stomping Forspoken for some reason. Like those are two comparable games in any way. It's like here's
I hate when they do that.
this general interest, colorful, happy $30 slash Xbox Live game versus this $70 RPG. Like, how do those two compare in any field? I have no idea. But that was a thing for like everybody's just shit talking Forspoken and talking about Hi-Fi Rush. And I mean, Hi-Fi Rush is a perfectly good game. I like it a lot, but I do not get that argument at all.
I hate when they do that. It's just like using the Dark Souls comparison to everything.
Oh, that one guy. It's not Dark Souls. I can just play Dark Souls. Fuck
Play
Giant Bomb.
forever.
Hope Giant Bomb
Play.
dies.
I just could watch it forever.
I'm some random British guy from IGN or GameSpot, and I'm going to come on this podcast and talk about how much I love Dark Souls. It's so good.
I have no
It's so
children or any
good.
other lives, so I have the time to put 200 hours towards this game.
I could play Neo, but Neo is not. I could just play Dark Souls. It's such a better game.
I could play Madden, but you know, I'd just much rather go back to Dark Souls.
Fuck Dark Souls.
Fuck Dark Souls.
Oh, let me tell you about Elden Ring. Fuck that game. Okay?
Yeah?
Yeah, fuck Elden Ring. You know what's wrong with that fucking game? Is that the whole thing is the LOL get good thing, but the character attacks don't have a logical pattern to them. So you have to see the attacks at least once and probably multiple times to actually get a feel for what the combos are and what they do. But you'll get killed in like 2 or 3 hits. So when you die, you don't instantly go back to that boss fight. The best they do is they have a spawn point outside of the boss arena. And when you die, you do this like fucking exaggerated, like slowly falling down crumble. Then it says you died. And then a loading screen, which is not fast. It's not a fast load at all.
Nope.
To bring you out to that spawn point in which you then run back to the boss and then fight him. Hopefully the boss is close. It's not always. And then maybe in the 4 or 5 seconds you have before you get fucking murdered again, you can maybe see a pattern. And that's the entire fucking game. And I'm sick of it. Just spawn me back in the boss room. Just let me... Why is it... It's like, there's hard, okay? There's difficulty in a video game. And the pattern memorization, I understand that. But it's wasting my fucking time between the 2 points is what really gets me. Like, I'll play
yeah.
the game. And if I die, I
Ninja Gaiden made it
die.
hard.
Yeah, Ninja
Gaiden was
Gaiden.
a hard game.
Yeah. Ninja
But it
Gaiden
wasn't
was more
bullshit.
forgiving as well, too. I don't remember it being that egregious with the loading and shit, but fucking
There was
God.
some stuff. There was some battles that were hard if you didn't memorize the pattern, but I remember it being like, okay, I was able to make it more than fucking 4 seconds into the fight to see phase 2.
I don't know. I was playing Elden Ring over the week, and I've been putting too much time in that game where I actively don't have fun playing it.
Oh no.
And the character I made was nerfed because everybody was using the pretty much an exploit for this attack, and that's the attack I was using. But now it doesn't do fuck all. It does nothing. So I got the
Oh
attack that doesn't
no.
work. So my character is more or less like fucking
Useless.
useless. So it's like I'm at a disadvantage in all these boss fights. I don't really have easy experience anymore because I'm like a level 100 or something like that, and all my
Oh
stats are put in different
no.
things. And the sword I
They might as
have,
well just start over.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, the sword I'm using doesn't mix with my stats anymore because I'm using like a katana build, and I was putting dex into it. And now it's an intelligence-based katana, so it does
God.
nowhere near enough damage, and the fucking attack thing I was using doesn't work anymore. So it's fuck that game. I'm sick of everybody saying it was like game of the year. That's my biggest
Yeah.
problem with it.
I think it's just a laughing point at this point that it's game of the year, but
It's
what do we
Ocarina of
know?
Time. People just jerking it off like the best fucking thing, and it's like this is it. This is the best
Yep.
game ever made.
Yep.
Fucking Christ.
Same with Final Fantasy VII. I love Final Fantasy VII, but 9 was better. But
Yeah, 7 is a very accessible game. There's not a lot going on, where 9 has the roles. The problem with 7 is that everybody is too generic. Nobody has really anything unique about them other than a few stats and the limit break. But you
it
can
was
replace
also the
anybody with
first big jump
anybody.
to 30. It was also the first big jump to 32-bit, and that's where everyone remembers it being like, "Oh shit, this has cinematics."
Yeah, it was definitely an expensive game. I know
Yep.
Wild Arms was before that, but that game was ugly as sin.
Hmm.
You had Beyond the
Except the
Beyond,
intro.
which was you
Oh God.
walk 2 steps and you get in a fight, which was the best thing ever. Uh Suikoden came
Suikoden.
out before, but Suikoden was a game that was being built for a Konami console that was going to come out, and they canceled it. So that game is, I'm sure, just coincidentally that visual style because
Yeah.
I don't think the system they were building was as high quality as the PlayStation. It was the same thing with the PCFX, where that system was built. It was made after the PlayStation, but it was just not up to par, and it failed miserably. Which the PCFX was the sequel to the TurboGrafx. So Konami just saw that and said, "Fuck it, we're not making this anymore." So then they took all the games they were making, Vandal Hearts, Suikoden, I think Castlevania even, were going to this other console they were making, and said, "Fuck it, put them on the PlayStation." And the Saturn, because they were Suikoden and Symphony of the Night both came out on the Saturn in Japan.
Oh yep.
Not two though, just the first one. Vandal Hearts 2 came out on the Saturn though, interestingly enough. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. I know Vandal Hearts 1 definitely did because I own it. Konami games, woo. Uh, let's see what else I've been playing here. Did did you know JoJo Bizarre Adventure is on fucking the All Star Rumble is on Game Pass?
We need to try that.
Yeah. I was gonna buy it. And I was like, why is this game that's from PlayStation 3 10 years ago $50? And then I saw it was a Game Pass. Like, all right, I'll play that. That's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll get it. But yeah, that game was fun back when I played it all that time ago. Uh, let's see what we've been streaming. I've been doing the Nuzlocke thing. I haven't done it in probably 5 or so days. I need to get back on that. We lost our Noodle Boy, our Dratini, or did I evolve it? I don't remember. Uh, known as Sweet Tea
Oh,
has passed.
RIP.
R.I.P. Sweet Tea. You were
Yep, you need.
wonderful. I don't feel too bad about it because we totally fucking broke the casino together.
Yeah,
So it's like, I kind of cheated, so I don't feel too bad about it. But still, that was a Dratini, man. That's good Pokemon.
good stuff.
Yeah, and we have a Quagsire that's been wrecking shit. That's Jackson, good old Jackson. Um, and we have the Espeon, which I can't remember the name of all of a sudden. Espeon, or
I
is it
need to watch the stream, and I could tell you these things.
what's the black Eevee called? The dark one?
Umbreon.
Umbreon. Yeah, yeah, it's an Umbreon. No, completely blanking. It's Cujo. That's the name, Cujo.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, Cujo's been wrecking it too. So yeah, the problem with that game is I don't want to sit on stream and just grind because that's a miserable experience for everybody. I don't want people
Uh-huh.
watching me do that. I don't want people watching it because that's a waste of their time. So I need to sit down and grind like 5 levels for everybody, then continue the run.
So that way it's a little bit better than just, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. We've been playing. Corey's been playing through Matrix Path to Neo on stream, which is a goofy ass PS2 generation game.
Yes,
Uh,
it is.
it's wonderful in its jankiness. Uh, we're going to be playing some Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 if I can figure out how to get it to work over a network. It's been a kerfuffle, but that's the Switch exclusive.
I think I'm
Uh,
gonna try to do Wilson Wednesday again.
yeah, we can try. We can finish Wilson. Wilson's fine. We've got those people. It's weird how streaming works. You can play general interest things like fucking, I don't know, Siege or Pokemon or Zelda, and we'll get people. And then there's people who will like one specific game. Like
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
we played Vulcan, and there's people with like names Vulcan in their username, or they fucking love Vulcan. And that's the game they like. So I don't know if those are
I'm trying to get
viable
to I'm trying to get
subscribers.
to end I'm trying to get to end game so I can start doing some streams with that because I enjoy end game shit versus the storyline stuff. Hit a wall last week where I went up 17 levels and I'm just like I don't want to grind anymore.
Yeah, I do like that game though, and we were all into it. Carvel's, Corey, me, you.
Today's Monday, right? We should do some more River City Girls tomorrow.
Yeah, we can do that. I think somebody wanted to play Dark and Darker has a demo out now.
Oh hell yeah.
And they wanted to do that tonight, but said I'm gonna be doing this podcast so we can do it later.
Yeah.
Overall, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think we've kind of hit everything for this week.
I'm trying to think if I did anything on stream. I don't remember. I know Hitman has that new uh what's it called? It's like the free agent mode, whatever it is.
Oh, yep.
They did the changeover to the World of Assassination. So if you buy Hitman 3, you get 1 and 2 automatically. So it's like one big package now, and they added a new mode. And Corey was streaming that for a bit too. It's it's specific targets with, and it has additives. So it's saying nobody sees you. You leave with your original uniform, and you kill them with a poison dart. And if you get all 3 of the things,
Oh,
you get like 3
cool.
bonuses, that kind of stuff. It's nice because that game is all based. It's like Siege, where it's focused on the maps, and
Yep.
the things you do can be interchanged, but overall, it's just playing with the maps and getting used to them and how you can exploit them, and the randomness of the objectives makes it more fun. So it's good to see it because that game is oh, when did the first one come out? The first one of this trilogy back in like 2016, 2017,
Yeah, it was a
and
while.
it's been going strong ever since then. So good for them. Still fun to stream too. That's a good general stream game. People can just watch that and have fun.
I'm gonna jump back in. I'm finally getting my footing back and trying to do more things, but I've just been dragging ass for the last month, so.
Feel you. I feel you.
But I'm
Uh
back, baby.
oh yeah. I got oh, I was gonna do some High on Life. I have a good feeling about that game. I think it's aged very well and is relevant to the times. Oh, that was a joke. You
Oh,
laugh.
got it. Yeah.
You
Ha.
laugh. You laugh at the joke.
Yeah. I yawned for a second because I realized that was
I got
no.
I was gifted the game The Night Witch, which looks really cool. I do want to play that this week. I do want to play more Forspoken. I want to try that Framemakers game, which is like that indie, everybody's in it, 2D Smash Bros.
Oh,
Clone.
yeah, that looks neat.
Yeah, I picked that up, but I haven't played it yet. I've already talked about my disgust for that fucking Neptunia game. God damn,
Yes, you did.
fuck that game. Uh, that's it. I think we're going on too long.
Yeah, so
I do want to finish Gotham Knights at some point too.
me too. I have it on my list. So we're that's this week. We've gone through quite a bit. We're gonna start trying to do more of a on-stream schedule. So keep a check on the YouTube page. Everything's changing. We're not like really changing, but we're reamping it just because we realize we don't have enough content and we like you guys and we want you guys to continue to listen and find stuff to bring you guys back because
Like I
more
said,
listeners,
like
more participation.
yeah, the Twitch thing is very ephemeral. Things just kind of go away, and nobody really is interested in watching general shit unless it's something like a Hitman stream that you record that's particularly interesting. But having like an actually curated and edited review for a game is, especially if it's an older game. If you do like PS2, PS1 games, all that shit, that's relevant always because those are already old games. So people who want to see that are going to see it, as opposed to like if we did fucking Forspoken or we did Harry Potter, what the fuck that game was called.
Oh, yep.
It's either you're the first person to do it and everybody's gonna watch those reviews that come out right away, and then a bunch of other people who are going to be completely ignored and nobody's going to be interested in watching a review again for maybe
Exactly.
5 years. So you got to hit that sweet spot. And I
And if
really
you
like
guys
PS1 games. So
thumbs up, tell people that you like us. Give us thumbs up. Go leave us a message on iTunes, Spotify, wherever
I
you can find
haven't
us.
uploaded an actual audio episode in like 8 or 9 episodes. So
Don't do that then.
I'm probably
Thumbs
gonna
up.
do this episode and then I'll slowly work backwards and probably do almost no editing to any of them because nobody gives a fuck about something that happened 3 weeks ago.
Tell your friends.
But
We're cool
I want it
people.
all to be there. I want it sequentially correct. I just don't care about the quality because nobody gives a fuck.
See, no one else has everyone has problems begging for viewership. I don't. I will promise you we will start delivering amazing fucking content. You guys have stuck with us for 41 goddamn episodes. Stick with us for another 41. We promise we're just ramping up. We're just 3 or 4 people trying to figure out what the fuck we're doing, and we appreciate you guys staying for the growing phases. And we're gonna continue to grow because we're about to hit fucking puberty to late adulthood. So stay tuned.
Well,
My voice might even crack.
the real secret here is that I just want that free VPN and the serial sponsorship.
Exactly. If I can get some free dick pills and some audiobooks for free, I will be stoked.
What about DMT?
DMT, maybe some MeUndies or some Death Wish water or whatever the fuck they're called.
I really wanted to get into Raid Shadow Legends
Oh man,
in World of
anything.
Tanks.
You know, and you got people who got some weird shit, just throw it our way because I'd even fucking advertise it.
Right.
On that note, this was Digital Deliberations. I'm Brett. That's Tom. This was episode 41 in the fucking books. And we will see you next week. Peace.
Later.